This is Lee with video 4 of the Hercules build. I'm squaring the trailing edge, just making sure before we get all the laminate and things done that the elevons will have a flat surface to sit against. I get asked a lot of questions about 3M90, 3M77. They are spray adhesives. Some people like to put a layer of adhesive underneath the tape and on the tape underneath the laminate in order to improve the adhesive on the laminate. I don't do this, but I get asked enough questions that I know a lot of people are doing this. I'm using extreme tape now just to put reinforcement over the front edge of the motor mounts where there's a small gap, usually where the formica comes close to the wood block. And then I put extreme tape across the bottom of the plane in order to give some good strength side to side on the plane. You'll notice that I'm actually stretching the tape a little bit, putting it down with some stress. I want it so that it's actually assisting the plane in being stronger. If you have it so that it's loose, it doesn't add strength to your plane. Just with a razor blade, trim it. If you try to use scissors on the extreme tape, it will gum your scissors up and you'll have to use an adhesive remover in order to clean your scissors. In this particular plane, I've used black spars so that you can see them better. Depends on availability. Usually there's white spars in the kit. But as you can see, I'm stretching that tape out tight, trimming it with a razor blade, and then just trimming around the motor mount. Make sure you don't cut your shock cord when you're trimming around the motor mount. And then just fit it in around the edges. Now on the top we don't put so much tape. The tape adds some weight. You notice I'm keeping as much of it ahead of center of gravity as possible. So I put a piece over the spar. The tape adds tension strength, the spar adds compression, and the two things together make the plane incredibly strong. As you can see, we're taping the leading edge, and I actually tape from spar to spar, and it makes a type of D-box around the leading edge of the wing that makes it incredibly strong. Just a little pressure seals it down. I did not use the 3M77 or the 3M90 on this plane. I've only used it on one plane recently and I didn't see any improvement. Other side of the top, stretch that tape out, get some tension in it. You don't want to bow your wing though, make sure you don't bow your wing. Such a huge plane, I almost can't get the camera to show the whole plane at once. Now we're going to start laminating. I have a lot of questions about how hot your iron should be. You want, take a few scraps of laminate and put the scraps and iron them to the cardboard box the plane comes in. Your iron should be hot enough to stick them down well, but not too hot or you'll change the shape of the foam. So as you are testing it, if you're starting to see that you're getting ridges where you're ironing, your iron is too hot, turn the temperature down. I've also found that if I let the iron sit while I'm running errands, I'll come back and the iron may be hotter than what I was used to using before I left. So I always check that to make sure I'm not going to damage the wing as I start ironing the laminate on again. I wrap the laminate up around the leading edge, usually about 2 inches over the edge. This adds some more strength to the D-box, which is on the front of the wing, making the wing even stronger. Now the laminate is not quite as wide as this huge wing. You're going to need to use a few pieces of this, but what's nice is the clear laminate, you can't even see the seams. So just trim, and you'll notice I'm putting some relief cuts there, and just laminate clear up around the edges. Here's our other piece of laminate for the bottom. I usually use the trailing straight edge as the edge that I set the laminate to. And then watch this stroke right here. That's the one that's magic right there, that long straight stroke. And then work from there out. That stroke right there is what decides how good your laminating job is. And then just work it up around the motor mount, the formica, the spars. And it actually helps to seal the extreme tape down to run an iron over it. So the iron adds some other benefit and strength besides just the laminate. And then sealing your trailing edges, I usually leave it so that I'm wrapping around about a thumb's width around on the back, and probably about 5 centimeters or 2 inches around on the front. This actually goes pretty fast. I'm showing you almost all of the lamination, and I can laminate a plane quite quickly just using big long sheets. How you lay it out, and the big strokes. Trim it in. I like to do it in 4 pieces because of the way the shape of the wing is. But working from the center out pulls the wrinkles off the edge. Now I've got a couple of places that I need to go back and touch up because there wasn't laminate there. These won't even show. You won't be able to tell that was there, especially after you get any color on the plane. All you'll see is a slight shadow. You can have multiple layers of laminate. It doesn't change the appearance. And you can see how I make relief cuts and just fold the laminate over and then just iron it in. For the sake of time, I'm not going to show all the edges being sealed from the top, but I've seen people use both the small hobby irons like I'm using in the video. I've seen them use household irons. I used a household iron for years. Just make sure that if you use a household iron, you tell your wife, because you will be in deep trouble if she takes that iron in and puts laminate adhesive on her brand new dress when she irons. Those irons pretty much, once they've ironed laminate, will have an adhesive on them that will ruin it close. As you can see, we're on the final panel here, and it really doesn't matter which order you do it in. And then I'll finish just showing you a piece of laminate up on the nose. Just make sure there's laminate on all parts of the plane and that you're happy with the way it looks. Wrinkles can be touched up just by running an iron over them a little bit. Watch the temperature on your iron, and you use a razor blade to cut it with as much as possible. Hope the video has helped you in building your plane.